Tell me now, tell me something, 'cause I don't know how this gonna end. Oh no. Tell me now, tell me something, 'cause I don't wanna be just friends. No, no. Yeah. Hear me out, like I make you do the craziest things. Yeah. I didn't mean to hurt you, babe. No, no. If you decide to leave, you will help me anyway. Maybe I am too naive, but I'm choosing to believe that you will give me another chance. Oh, so tell me now, can we find love? Can we go back to where we were? All I want is to love you, start all over. Tell me now, yeah, yeah. Don't leave, wait a minute. Let me make up for the wrongs I did. I did. I'm just a human, I admit it. What will it take for you to forgive me? Forgive me. If you decide to leave, you would help me anyway. Maybe I am too naive, but I'm choosing to believe that you would give me another chance. Oh, whoa. So tell me now, can we find love? Can we go back to where we were? All I want is to love you, start all over. Tell me now.
There's nothing that I can say or do, and it seems that words won't change a lot. How can I make it through to you when these silly little words are all that I've got? We can try to just pretend I could hold you once again, 'cause I'm scared of feeling lost tonight. When I wake up, it's you that I think of. It's true, it's so obvious, but I'm holding back because you don't want me like I want you. You don't feel me like I feel you. Oh no. And I must confess that you don't touch me like I touch you. Never blush, baby, when I kiss you, but you don't. And I must confess that I wish I'd find someone new and forget about you. 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 There's only so much that we can save, like a storyline and a few cliches. When we break up, it's true that I'm making up this through. I don't wanna pass the buck, but we're in this place because you don't want me like I want you. You don't feel me like I feel you. Oh no. And I must confess that you don't touch me like I touch you. Never blush, baby, when I kiss you. You don't. And I must confess that I wish I'd find someone new. You're the sweetest love I ever had.
Welcome to the only show bringing cops and the community together with some real talk and some real listening. This is uncut. This is uncensored. This is Black and Blue Live. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, right on time at 5:30. How you doing? My name is Dale. This is Black and Blue Live. Thank you for joining me on this show where we celebrate diversity in U.S. law enforcement. This is also the show where we bring cops in the community together for some real talk and some real listening. Community like you out here. So I appreciate everyone for checking out the show. We are live right now. If you didn't know that, we are live right now on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter. So wherever you're watching us, make sure you get your comments on, and we will make sure we get those out to you, assuming that they're appropriate for the show. I'm sure there will be. How was everyone's Mother's Day yesterday? I had a great day with the fam, with my moms yesterday, and the wifey and everybody. So, I hope you guys had a good one. Today is post Mother's Day, and we're going to talk to some mothers that are involved in law enforcement and some of their children that are involved in law enforcement as well, seeing what they kind of pass down to their kids. So without further ado, let's get to that. All right. So my first victim here, I don't want to say victim, my first guest here, she was a 27-year veteran of the Phoenix Police Department. Before she retired, everyone, please help me welcome to the show, Toy Sanford. How you doing, ma'am?
I'm doing great, Dale. Thank you. How are you?
I am excellent. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So tell everybody a little bit about you and what you did out there at Phoenix.
Well, again, my name is Toy Sanford. I retired as a sergeant from Phoenix PD after 26 and a half years. Did a reservist as 1 year with the state agency, DPS. And man, it's been a wild ride, but it's been good. I went through my career as a single mom. It was great in some aspects, but I'm sure we'll get to some of that later. Right now, I retired after 2016, been retired for almost 6 years now, and have been wandering all through Arizona in my RV. I actually, sorry.
And you're dropping things there. It's all good.
Yeah, I dropped my water. That's all right.
Oh, well, we don't want you to have that spreading everywhere. So we'll get back to you if you want to clean that up. Okay. And we'll, yeah, because I know I don't want you, running into some electrical panels or something.
You heard it, didn't you?
Yes. So while you do that, let me bring on your son and his lovely wife. Everyone, please help me welcome to the show, Jared and Elena Nash. Hey, how you doing, guys?
All is well, can't complain.
So, Jared and Elena, you guys are happily married, and you guys are out in Arizona as well. So, thank you for your service. You guys are still active duty police officers. Tell everybody a little bit about yourselves.
All right, ladies first.
Okay.
Ladies
Of course,
first.
it makes me go first. So I've been with the city of Surprise for 5 years. I started out civilian and then was crazy enough to convert to the dark side. And so I did 2 years as a civilian, and now I'm on my third year of being actually sworn. So right now I am in field ops, working graves on the weekends. I am a vampire. So right now I'm in our recruitment division. So I'm helping, trying to bring in bodies and get our department to grow, and definitely enjoying learning that administrative aspect to it.
All right, Jared.
All right. As my mother prefaced, she had retired in 2016. It's funny, that's the year that I actually got started. So it was essentially a passing of the torch, if you will. So kind of a honorable time to be transitioning into this profession. Started off originally in field operations as a patrol officer, and as of 2021, January, I actually took a promotion to be an investigator. So I'm currently assigned to our criminal investigations division.
All right. Well, congratulations, and thank you for your service
Thank
out
you.
there, both of you.
Thank you.
All right. And last but certainly not least, these two ladies hail from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We've mom here is she was a 17-year veteran of the department, and her daughter is a captain now of Milwaukee. So everyone, please welcome to the show, Miss Sherry Porter and Captain Sharonda Grant. How you ladies doing?
Pretty good.
All right. Thank you for coming on to the show. How was you guys' Mother's Day yesterday?
It was good.
All right. All right. So tell everybody a little bit about yourselves.
Okay. I have 3 years, 4 months in the military. And after the military, then I joined the police department. I came on at 42. I have 17 years on with my military time, and I retired in 2019.
All
Yep.
right.
And I came on in 2001 as a police aide. So I was 18 when I joined the agency. And then when I turned 21, I entered into the police academy. And I've been very blessed to have a really great career. But I mean, being able to move through the ranks, but having support from my mom is key to my success. So I'm very blessed and fortunate to have her in my corner.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate you two ladies. And we're going to have a real fun discussion today. So, hey, let's get to it. All right. So we are celebrating hardworking super moms everywhere, starting with these ladies on the panel here, and also Jared too. He's going to be celebrating his mom. He's going to be celebrating his mom. This is a post Mother's Day broadcast. Obviously, I wasn't going to do this yesterday because everybody, I'm sure, was out and about. So we're doing this today, and hey, we should do this every day. Celebrate your moms every day, right? So this is
I'll
just
co-sign
another
on that.
excuse for that. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So moms, real quick, let's talk to Toy and Sherry real quick. What were you guys' last assignments before you decided to call it quits and hang it up? We'll start with you, Toy. What were you doing before you hung it up?
Prior to retiring, I was assigned to a detail that was my absolute ideal, working on the Phoenix Police Department's early identification and intervention system program. I did that about 20 years ago. It's more commonly referred to as early warning system. And we got a lot of notoriety about 20 some odd years ago when I was working on it. And, you know, technology changes. And so they wanted to go resurrect and do some updates to the current early intervention program. So they asked me to come back over and go ahead and work on that and resurrect that.
All right, all right. And Ms. Porter, what were you doing when you hung it up?
Central booking, transporting prisoners, booking in prisoners.
Okay, well, I'm sure that was fun, right?
Oh, yes.
Yes, well, I'm glad that you two ladies made it through. I was making a comment off air. I've got a few more years before I retire, and that light at the end of the tunnel. So why don't we talk about real quick, since we're on the subject, what are you guys doing now? I know you guys have to stay busy. You got to stay busy, or else things will take a quick turn for the worse if you're not staying busy, mentally and physically. So what are you two doing now that you're retired?
Well, for me, I do part-time teaching for one of the universities out here in the criminal justice program. And then I also have my consulting business full-time. So I'm still working with the police family, trying to give back. I have a vested interest with those two right there.
With those?
Yes,
yes.
with those two. But, truth be told, is everybody on the panel and everybody behind the badge, because that's my family too. You all are my family.
Appreciate that.
Amen.
Amen. And Sherry, what are you doing now?
I work for Elite Company, security, and I also have an Airbnb in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay. All right. Is that Airbnb keeping you busy now, or is it kind of starting to ramp up in this season right now?
No, it's keeping me busy now.
Yeah, yeah. And
because I don't know if you're aware of, Pfizer Forum.
Yes.
So Pfizer Forum I'm like, about 5 minutes from Pfizer Forum.
Okay. All right. So
that's really what's keeping people in there.
All right.
So we have people coming from China, New York, all over.
Nice. Well, congratulations on that. And so we'll talk to now the children. I don't know if I call you guys. You guys are grown. The offspring. About offspring. How did your mothers influence you growing up. So, particularly you, Jared, and you, Sharonda, how did your mothers influence you seeing, this woman that you love go out and be a police officer? We can start with you, Sharonda.
So my mom influenced me a great deal. So when I was in patrol, my mom was also in patrol too. So we both worked third shift. So we both worked midnights. So
Wow.
and
Yes.
we both patrolled bordering districts. So I worked in District 4, she worked in District 7. And so, if I needed something, look, mom, well, what do I do for this? How do I handle this investigation? What do I do for this investigation? I could always just give her a call and she would give me all the information. And so when I was younger, I was always getting into stuff. So like foot pursuits and vehicle pursuits, whatever I could get into, I was getting into it. And I really wasn't thinking that she would be able to hear the broadcast because we shared the same police channel. And so she would always call, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" So, but it was a really good time. But just just having my mom to support me, having that, somebody who's been, in the agency, and then just the life wisdom that she's given me, it's irreplaceable. And that's why I always say, I wouldn't be anywhere without having that support, without having somebody that I could talk to and trust and ask for information and knowing that it's going to be the right information and the right guidance. So I'm very blessed.
Wow, that's totally unique. I mean, I usually hear because we can talk to Elena and Jared about spouses that work in the same department, sometimes the same shift, but I've never heard parent and offspring, parent child working the same shift. That's a totally different dynamic, I'm sure. Yeah. So, Jared, why don't you talk about your experience seeing your mom as a police
My
officer?
experience, yes, sir. My experience was a little bit different. I definitely would have loved the opportunity to possibly be in a tutelage kind of role, if you will, at the same time. But my mom's sensitive territory, so I don't know how well that would have went for me. Taking calls with my mom, might have been ready to buck up on somebody rather quick, and a lot of
Right.
IAs, if you will. My experience or exposure came at 16 years old, ride alongs.
Hmm.
I thought that was the coolest thing in the world, and nonetheless, going through what it is to usually go through at that age, 16 years old, raging hormones, and I'm just like, okay, squirrel, there's a lot going on. Mom, can I do this? What's going on over here? What's that? Can I go chase the bad guy? It's like, whoa, calm down. So during those times, at least having the opportunity to go and ride along with my mom, it was an absolute pleasure. I enjoyed it a lot, obviously, with all the activity that was going on. But of course, as with most moms, they keep it in perspective because I expressed the interest of wanting to get into law enforcement rather young. And to be frank, the response was hell no. You can go figure out something else to do. And we don't even need to talk about this no more.
Airing
Oh,
that airing
okay.
that dirty laundry out here.
I mean, what
I
is
see.
it? It was honest. She was like, "You have the opportunity to go to school. You do that. Expand or explore your horizons." I was like, "Okay, cool." So I obliged. Was fortunate enough to go and get my bachelor's on a full ride scholarship for football at Idaho State. Came home and then revisited the whole school deal and went back and got my master's and trying different things at life at that point, getting into coaching, began a career as an enrollment counselor at Grand Canyon University that's out here, but it just wasn't working. And then, of course, this one happens to be scrolling through on Facebook one day and, hey, have you thought about this? And it was an advertisement for law enforcement for Glendale PD. And immediately I was shocked because I never even thought about it. Once mama said, nope, don't even think about it, it never came back up. Didn't talk about it at all until Better Half here presented it. And I then addressed mama and was like, hey, mom, what are your thoughts? So I took a screenshot of it, texted to her, and the response was no in all caps. I was like, oh, all right. But it came around to it. I was like, hey, look, mom. In all sincerity, I've obliged your request. I've gone to school, two times over now, established a little bit more of that wisdom where I think the reservation was originally coming from, because kind of the young and dumb was still, um, at the age of 16, was still present. And so I definitely needed the explore your horizons. And as mentioned, when I started in 2016 with the opportunity to, embark on this career, I had to pay it forward and bring mom out on a ride along and say, hey, this is what you helped to create. This is me in the flesh, and this is me doing this profession. And since then, it's been you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yes.
Now,
Love
there's
to
some
hear that.
caveats in that. Come on
There are some
now.
caveats. Yes.
There's
Okay.
some caveats. There's some missing. There's some little gaps up in there, because
Well,
I
of course
told
there
I'll
are.
let you fill in the
You can
gaps.
fill in the gaps there too.
yeah. Now, truth be told, yes, I did tell him no. Didn't want him going into law enforcement, and quite frankly, that is because of my experience too, and some of the pitfalls that I've had as a minority in this profession. And then, especially as a minority male, I could see him as being a bigger target, not necessarily from the people on the outside, but the people on the inside, especially an educated African American male. And so he and I had these conversations. And then, just from experience, we all know everybody loves a firefighter. Nobody likes a cop, because
Hmm.
we're always taking somebody's family member. And so that was one of the reasons, that was one of the other reasons why I was like, no, absolutely not. But then, yeah, he's right. He talked to me. He said, Mom, this is my love. This is where my heart is. And I said, okay, I came around. But I gave him one ultimatum, one ultimatum, anywhere
Which
except
was?
for where I just came from,
Oh, okay.
not the agency that I came from. And that is because I moved around into a lot of different assignments. I was very visible in what I was doing throughout my career. And I have to understand that Phoenix was an agency that on paper was 3,000 sworn, and the demographic population out here in Arizona for blacks is only 2%. Most of that concentration is in the Phoenix area, and it wasn't a lot of us. So even if we had 3,000 allocated on paper, we didn't have that many. There were even less of us that were black in the uniform. And when I retired, there were only three of us females that were supervisors. That was it. So when I say I was visible, I was very, very visible, whether I wanted to be or not. And so my son, as far as giving him a good standing in this profession, did not need to go into an agency where he was always going to be functioning in my shadow, whatever that was. He needed to have the opportunity to develop himself, his work reputation, based off of him, and not, hey, are you so and so's son?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I can understand that. And it's over the years of talking to different people from different departments. There's only a couple professions where, when I ask, hey, would you want your kid to do the same thing? One of them is ours, and another one's also football players. Um, the inherent danger physically for there. You hear this
Mm-hmm.
all the time. With even famous and professional athletes, professional football players. They've made it, and they've Super Bowls and MVPs and all that. And would you want your son to do it? No, no. I want him to play something else, run track, play basketball. And sometimes it's just like that with us in law enforcement. You'd rather because we've seen it, and it's tough for us to
Yeah,
say hey, I'm working this profession, but I don't want you to do it. It's kind of tough that way.
it's hard to.
Uh, Did you kind of discourage Sharonda from being a police officer, Sherry?
No,
No, I
I
know you
thought it
did
was a
time in
good.
the military, and
I thought it was a good opportunity for her. You know, when Sharonda was young, I put them over into education where there were mixed kids, so they could learn to work with everybody, every type of race. So they were bused over to school. With me putting them in one area, a black area, they're only going to learn what we do. Once you get over there, now you learn the prejudice, you learn how it is. So when you come into a job like the police department, you're already aware what you're up against. So
Yeah.
no, I didn't ever discourage her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can say that made, like, just, going to diverse schools, it made it, when you are the only black kid in the classroom, or the, only minority, or one of a few, it made it easier going to roll call where you were one of a few. And so, yeah, it made it easier. Not to say that it was very easy, in the agency, because it wasn't. I had some difficulties from time to time, but not having that experience would have made it much more easy, or much more difficult.
Yeah. Yep. And Elena, how'd you get into the profession to begin with, and how'd you meet Jared?
So Jared and I met almost 10 years ago now. So we were long solidified before everybody thinks we got married once we came to the police department. That was not true. We actually were married prior to. We met at the gym. That's how all good love stories start, right? Yeah, that's just from a friend of college that went to him and knew me, and that's how that all started. And so I actually, when he started the academy, he started 2016 in December. Our son was born August of 2016. And that was close to when, prior to Toy had retired, and then our son was born, and then he signed his papers and he was in the academy and still getting up and doing bottle feeding and all that kind of stuff. And so then, of course, with that, he went to Graves, and he was, on FTO, and he was an OIT. And so then I just stayed home with him. And then finally I was like, okay, it's time for me to get up and working. I was finishing and in progress of my master's while I was at home with our son. And so then I was like, all right, what am I going to do now? It's time to work. So my background's in psychology and behavioral science. So I was like, well, let's go get this job with the police department. At least I got, good health insurance. I got a retirement. We'll see where this goes. And from there, I made it in records, and all of my supervisors were like, you can't just do this the rest of your life. You're not cut out to do this. That's not what you did all that schooling for. And so I was like, well, I guess we'll go test and see what happens. And so I shocked probably half the department and showed up to test that day and haven't looked back since. So that's pretty much my story of it now. And now I'm in my doctoral program and still got a long way to go with that. But yeah, just kind of seeing when opportunities lie ahead, and hopeful that mental health will continue to be something that's on the forefront to take care of everybody.
Absolutely. It sounds like so you and your mother-in-law have a lot in common there. Besides your love for
Our
Jared,
dinner conversations can be very interesting. Absolutely, yes.
It's like Mandarin for me, so I don't know what's going on at all.
All right. Yeah. So,
Yes, he does.
yeah. So Sherry, Sharonda was a little older, I'm sure. So you didn't have to worry about her when you were in law enforcement, as a single mom or anything like that. So, Toy, what was that like for you, actually having to go out and be, Miss SuperMom, Miss Police Officer, while you had a son?
I had two sons. My oldest son, he's actually in the military. He's 6 years older than Jared. So I had two sons at home throughout my entire career as a single mom. It was
Wow.
not easy.
No,
I had to
no.
be very, very discerning about the assignments that I took. Very much. And there were a lot that I passed up on, a lot of opportunities that I passed up on, but they were absolutely worth it. I had some limited support, is what I could say. Very limited support. So I had to just understand that at sometimes they're just not going to be there, and I'm just going to have to make the adjustment. You asked about the sick kids. I was always the parent that stayed home with the sick kids, and I
Right.
do not have a good bedside manner. I am terrible. I would tell them, you better
Boy, get your
take
butt
that
up.
medicine. And
You,
I did. I did. I would like, take the medicine, suck it up, let's go.
uh,
And but you just have to keep going. At that point, in the midst of it, I was kind of like just kind of running on autopilot, just trying to stay one step ahead, running on autopilot, because at the end of the day, policing was my second job. My first job was my kids, and I always had to make sure that I came home to my kids. and did everything to make sure that I could come home to my kids.
Yes.
And so, that's where all of that started, and that's probably another reason why I was trying to dissuade Jared from getting into the profession, because I also know the statistics about those of us in the profession as far as the relationships go. And I didn't want that for him. Didn't want that for either one of my sons.
Well,
So
yeah. Yep. But Jared and Elena, you've been married how long now?
We're going on almost 10 years.
All right. Yes. All right.
yay. Hercules.
Yeah. So Sherry, not to say that when you were in the military it wasn't tough raising children. Talk about that as well.
Sharonda wasn't born when I was in the military.
Oh, okay. Well, she looks a
Yeah.
whole lot younger than even that, right? Yeah.
But I actually have two daughters. But no, they were not born when I was there. When I
Okay.
came home and joined the police department, I already had my kids.
All right. All right. And Sharonda, you have children yourself?
No, not yet.
No, not yet. Well, do you want children after hearing all this here?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
My husband and I, we still want kids. So, but yeah. So right now we're just, hey, whatever God has in store.
Yes, yes, yes. And I love hearing that story that, you and your mom went on patrol together. I mean, wow, that's a story right there, you know what I mean? So, but let's talk about you as being African American females, all three of you, in this profession and how tough it is. You've got kids, you had kids, and now they're all grown, Toy. But Elena, you got kids now, and you got to deal with that. And what's that like, even being a female in this profession? What's that like? Those are things that Jared and I don't have to experience because we're males. There's things that aren't expected of us that are expected of you, and vice versa. Talk about your experience as a female, and not just a female, but a black female in this profession.
So I think there's something to be said for how you handle your assertiveness, because in being a female in general, first they either think, okay, she's just gonna, try to get by, or okay, is she like gonna need everybody's help all of the time? So when I came into this, I was like, okay, I was already a mom, so I was one of the older girls in the academy. I was like, I was not there to find my next mate. I was not there for any of that. It was just survival was the name of the game. And from there, I always just wanted them to respect me and know that if they needed backup, they could depend on me. And as it stands now, I tend to be the one that is either yelling like a mom, and when I get my mom voice, everybody kind of tends to stand at attention more so often than not. And at the same time, because we do have to go hands-on in our job, and so sometimes even the guys aren't expecting, but sometimes you got to prove a point, and sometimes when they want to test your authority, it's unfortunate, but that's how that has to go. So and when I first got hurt at work and had my first on duty injury, he was actually there. We were fighting the same suspect, so that made for an interesting dynamic. And it is, you think differently when you've got somebody to come home to, especially because I still work grades. I've worked grades for 2 years. So then you go from, your son, or your child or significant other saying, no, mom, I don't want you to go to work. And then it's, oh, mom, can you do this? Or, oh, can you wipe a nose? Oh, can you make me something to eat? And then you're expected to go on, and now you got to drive this ship, and now you've got to arrest people, and you've got paperwork, and you've got all that kind of stuff. So it's an interesting balance act. And you are forced to make decisions, like Toy said, in mentioning your career and kind of looking at, there's a lot that I do, and there's also a lot that he does. And he is on call out frequently. And even with our, SWAT team, he, is a part of that as well. So that adds, how much do I want to have involvement in it? I'm actually on our crisis negotiations team as well. So we play that juggling game. And sometimes it is, okay, pass him off. Okay, you've had him all night. I'm taking him in the morning, taking him to school. And our son is very aware of that stuff. So he is very much so are you going to work tonight? So you have to balance that. But I think it doesn't make you hesitant, but there is that the name of the game is survival. And it's like, because you need to make sure that you come home and you take care of yourself and you take care of others. And at the same time, you remain professional, and your decision making, I think, can be not skewed, but it can just be different. So it's what you're willing to do. And sometimes, they keep talking about a de-escalation, but sometimes it's how you de-escalate somebody that can make all the difference in terms of somebody putting up a fight as opposed to them not. So, I would definitely say my gift of gab is paying off, which, my dad always said that it wouldn't when I was younger, but here I am talking people's ear off, and it's worked out for me. But there are those hard, decisions where my son will ask me as soon as he sees my gear, and he's like, "Oh, mommy, I don't think you need to go to work." And then I'll tell him, and we'll sit there and talk. And because he's turning 6 this year, so he's in kindergarten, and he keeps saying he wants to be a police officer. That's his newest thing. Is he says that he wants to be a police officer. I have no idea, because I'm like, well, your dad's a police officer, and he goes, "Daddy, no." And then I'm like, well, you see all my gear, and I'm like, mommy's a police officer. Like, I take bad guys to jail. He looks at me, he's like, no, you don't. And so in his mind, it's interesting to see what he perceives as like what we do for work. But at the same time, he's like, yeah, I want to be a police officer too. So I think, going into the academy a little bit older, I was more established. It was come in, get the job done, set yourself up for a career going forward. And at the same time, you are a mom. And I think you can relate to people differently when you look at somebody's kids, or that's your mom or dad, and that relatability, I think, can help you be really successful.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sharonda, so you're a captain out there now, so I'm sure you've seen it all. You and Mom, what was that like working out there in Milwaukee PD as a female and as a black female? All the things you've seen, all the things you've had to deal with, just being a female, and hopefully you hadn't had to deal with the angry black woman stereotypes and all those sorts of things. Talk about your experience over there.
So, well, so something like similar to Toy, there's not a lot of us in these positions, or even in the agency. So we are, so African Americans in general in an agency that's about maybe 1,600 sworn, it's about 17%, and it only gets, it gets less the higher you go up. And so there's not that many females, African American females, in the agency either. And so I've had, like I always say, I've had a very blessed law enforcement experience. However, I've had some issues when it relates to, promoting and just getting special assignments, etc. And so what I've realized is that, you are okay if you stay on the same level. You don't have any animosity towards you. The white counterparts, they're, okay with you. But as soon as you start to, get those special positions, oh, she got it because she's black. Oh, she got it because she's this. Oh, she got it because she's a woman. No, I got it because I'm smart. And so those are the experiences that I've had over the course of my career. Because when I was in patrol, I was going to school. I was getting my bachelor's degree, getting my master's degree. And while a lot of people, they just decided to stick with the bare minimum of the 60 credits, I was like, no, I have to, go until I don't want to go anymore. Because I know that I have to be so much better than the next person. If I come to an interview with 60 credits, 60 college credits, and my counterpart has 60 college credits, he's probably going to get that position. So I've always known that I had to be so much better than anyone. And I don't look at, competition like I have competition or anything like that. It's just the facts. And I've always been, my mom instilled in me, you have to always put your best foot forward. But like I always say, I'm very blessed. So I'm not bitter. I'm very fortunate to have the positions that I'm in. But yeah, so it hasn't been a cakewalk, but the women that have come before me, the black women that have come before me, they have definitely set the bar. They set the bar high, the standards high, and I continue to set that bar high for that next generation of black women that come after I leave this agency.
Yes, indeed. Love that. Love that. And you've done well for yourself. So yeah, we appreciate you.
Yeah.
What was your experience,
Dale,
Sherry? Yeah, go ahead, jump in there.
just real quick jump in here because what Sharonda was just talking about is exactly what I found in my dissertation research because it was on women in law enforcement and they talked about actually going up the ranks and how when they were more at their first level officer ranks, more of the harassment that they got was more sexualized. And as they moved up in the ranks, it was more like they had a target on their back. They were treated more as a second class citizen for taking away a position that should have gone to a man. And I found just even in my experience, I retired as a sergeant, but I had a specialized niche while I was there, which is what I retired from. And I found that even then, when you have a niche, you have that target on your back. I was treated more as a commodity to be controlled because if you control the commodity, you can control all the power that's associated around that commodity.
Yep.
So it's just really a different dynamic. And I found that that was not the case with my white peers. Yeah, it
Agreed.
didn't happen the same
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So Sherry, I was going to ask you about your experience as a female working both in the military and on the police department. But real quick, are you two originally, or are you originally from Milwaukee? Is your family from there? What brought you to Milwaukee there, Sherry and Sharonda?
My family is from Milwaukee.
Okay, so you're born and raised.
Hmm.
All right, all right. So what was your experience in the police department as a female?
I'm thinking because like Sharon, I was bussed over to Bayview High School, and I was the only black in the classroom also. So when I'm coming onto the police department from being in the military, I'm like mature. I'm not trying to be in a clique or anything. So I think mine was different because I was always, always older at the point when I came into the police department. So the cliques that everybody else got into, I didn't get into that. So it's a little bit different for me.
Yeah, and you went out there, did your job, and called it that, huh?
Yes.
No doubt, no doubt.
And then never forgetting, if you never forget where you come from, always remember where you came from. I think that's one of the key parts of being a police officer.
Yep, you got to, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to serve. So remember where you were at, and kind of pay it
Hmm.
forward. Got to pay it forward.
Yes.
So Jared and to some extent, Sharonda, it wasn't all good seeing your mom as a police officer. Talk about some of those experiences that you may have had, seeing your mom as a police officer, that didn't quite sit well with you, whether it's, seeing her go off to work and when she should have been in your mind home, or whatever, if it was you, Sherry and Sharonda, seeing your mom have to put up with, some dude who wasn't giving her respect out there on patrol. So what are your experiences seeing your mom? Because I know you talked about that, Jared. If you would have had to work with your mom out on patrol, you might have had some IAs or some. Talk about some of those experiences you may have had that weren't so rosy.
Yeah, so to be honest, I think watching and learning from my mom generated a real strong perspective and respect for what it is that she does. Because I've always been raised from her to, hey, you don't work, you don't eat. Food doesn't just provide itself to you. You have to go out there and make for yourself. And so being raised to be very independent, so to speak, it never really hit me with my mom, going to work and doing what it is that she had to do because she always generated that perspective. And that was my interpretation that she goes to do this to provide for me and allow me to do what it is that I need to do. So there was really, really no question. I think when it actually hit me is when I transferred over and started in this profession and becoming a newfound father. And kind of like the light bulb effect, it came on, having a, brand new baby boy and getting started in the profession. It was like, all right, certain things that I would dwell on with what my mom would do with me and my older brother as kids, and making those moments to, go and spend time and be at laser tag, beating up on each other or going bowling or little things like that. So of the times that she was gone at work, I think those memories that were established with having fun during the hustle and bustle, and she's coming home with her stresses from work and everything else carried over for me is like, okay, well, the idea was let me make sure that my son, even if he knows that I'm gone or I have to be gone or I'm gone all the time, that when I'm there, I'm present. And doesn't ever need necessarily have to be that we go and do something and dad has to go spend money or anything like that. But just the time and being present. That's something that I never forgot with my mom. So I think it's something that helped me cope with her being in the profession and essentially, you know, establish that comfortability. That, okay, yeah, I know my mom's gonna be home for me to talk to in the morning. I know my mom's gonna be home later on, so we can go out and get something to eat, whatever the case may be. So that comfort really set itself, and it's something that I try to relive. Moving forward with my son. That hey, yes, dad might be busy, dad might be gone, or when he sees me gear up in my SWAT uniform, hey, dad has to go play Ninja Turtles for a little bit, but we'll be back. And normally his follow will be like, hey, well, you want to watch Ninja Turtles when you get back? My man, all right.
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
watch Ninja Turtles when daddy gets back. So
Did
perspective
you
is the
though?
biggest thing.
But did you coming up and seeing your mom? Did you ever have any worries about what could happen to your mom on the job?
Um, I didn't until I actually got to see it in the flesh. Um, from being overly stimulated like that, and it really hit to where I was like, Mom, like you actually go and do this stuff all the time? Like, are you serious? So when I was 16 years old, outside of me processing everything, like this is cool, but dang, Ma, you really do this. This is crazy. That's really when it actually set for me. Like, okay, well, I understand that tomorrow's not always promised, but tomorrow's not promised for anybody, and that's definitely something, a creed, if you will, that I live by. That you have to. Tomorrow's not always promised to anybody. So, what is it that you're going to do today to prepare yourself, and be present, be in the moment, and so on and so forth. So, I never really uh, dwelled on it. Yes, I had my moments where I did think about it, but I never dwelled on it too much.
Yeah. Yep. What about you, Sharon? Did you ever think about what could happen to your mom and out there, even though you were doing the same thing?
Absolutely. It was always a nerve wracking experience. And then my mom was also someone. It was a car hit. She was in a car accident. There was a vehicle that hit. That was at the car. It was a car
Mm-mm.
accident, or
That was when I was off of duty. I hit a tree. I had an accident.
oh, okay. So yeah, but I remember in a uniform, and she was at the hospital and stuff like that. But it was thank God it was not life threatening or anything like that. But you
Yes.
just never, like Jared said, you have to live for the moment and you have to be mindful. Um, this stuff is real. So yeah, there's definitely been those experiences where you like, okay, you're praying that your mom makes it home, or and it's of course you're praying for your brothers and sisters in blue, but it's a little bit different when it's your
Hmm.
relative, when it's someone
Yeah.
that's very close to you.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. I mean, talk about that, Elena and Jared, about the two of you working for one the same department, but knowing the dangers of the job, right? How do you guys cope with that?
Yeah, so when I started out, I was always like, okay, your husband signs up for it, and you're like, okay, because you just see cops, you don't see the other side of it. And I described it when he first started, and I was just the wife of a police officer. It's like an unofficial, official members only club that only certain people get the membership to. And so I always was just like, okay, if this is what he wants to do, then I need to support him in any way possible. If that means making sure he gets the rest that he needs so that he can stay awake at night, making sure that he's alert, then that's what, I was going to do, hands down. And I was able to do that. And then working, it became a little bit more, because I would pass guys in the hallway or they would be out on a call with him and that kind of stuff. And then it was like, okay, a little more real. I went on a ride along with him probably before I became sworn. And he was like, you want to get on a traffic stop? And I was like, no, like, no. That was like never in my list of things to do that night. Let me tell you, like I brought snacks, like it was going to be a whole thing, but I was not about to get out. So I was like, okay, I gotta like get into, and I'd never had any type of experience with cops, whereas he grew up around it the whole entire time. I never did. So I was like, all right, we can try it. And every now and then I would get out of the car and kind of see, and then I was like, okay, I'm good. Like, it's better to just kind of not think about what's going on. And then after that, it was just kind of one of those things where since we worked together, I mean, I would watch a body cam with him in it and that kind of stuff. And it was like, okay, that's a whole different exposure, because now it's like watching a TV show. And then as time's gone on, then because we worked sister squads. So we were Graves, because he went back to Graves. And so we had our double squad day. That was actually where we had the overlap. So then it was, he could hear me on the radio. I could hear him on the radio. I tend to be making a lot more noise than he did because I was out getting into stuff and not trouble, just doing my job. And then, here somebody comes tearing into the parking lot and I'm all looking like, is that my mom or something? And it's him popping up because he was like, well, they said you need to back up. I'm like, I don't need no backup. Get out here. Like, but that was just me. So then, and then they also said that I was the worst out of both of us. So it does, but you have that worry. And even when we're, separated now and I work nights, so he is left at home asleep and he's got to put our son down. And, so that adds a whole different dynamic. And I don't think that worry ever goes away. I think it's just being cognizant of it and just knowing that this is what we kind of signed up for. That it's like, okay, we just make sure. So if I'm like, hey, you've been hitting them cheesecakes a little too hard, bruh. Like, we need to go work that out at the gym. Let's go do it. Okay. And it's because I need him to be around for when he retires. I don't want him to, give his whole life to this career and then not have him after the fact. So that's one thing that I really push, because it's like, the hours change, that odd hours, the sleeping, all of that tends to go downhill because we put all ourselves into the job completely. And it's that self-care and that really taking that time out to be like, nope, you need to go get this workout, and nope, you need to keep your wind up. And it's like, and what are we reflecting to our son too, that you get into this career and then it's just downhill from there. I want to be able to still chase him and run after him and do that kind of stuff. So it's prioritizing, definitely. But that worry is always still going to be there. I mean, I'm lucky with the fact that my parents live close to where I patrol. So if I need a bathroom break, I can stop there, right? Because we don't always like to get out of our patrol cars and go, into the bathroom, not knowing who you're going to find on the other end of that. So I can stop at my parents' house. And then that's like, okay, she's on duty, and they're just like, okay, be safe. But these day and age, be safe, means a lot. And where you position yourself, where you stop, where you go, who you interact with, that's all stuff that you have to remain cognizant of, because you want to definitely be, left to bang before it happens. That's for sure.
No doubt. No doubt. Wow. Well, this is a real robust conversation. I'm glad we talked about everything. I mean, we got off the beaten path and talked about, just you as a couple, and we talked about some other things as well. So I appreciate that conversation as well. And Mother's Day, I hope you guys celebrated it yesterday. Did you guys do anything yesterday? Anybody?
All right. We actually went to church first and then out to eat.
Okay.
There you go.
Yes. All right, so we are not done. Like I said earlier, we got a little game for you guys, so some friendly competition. So let's get this started. This game is called This Is My Family Game Night.
Oh man.
Oh gosh.
Yes, family game night. And today, you guys' category is Look Ma, I'm on TV. Look Ma, I'm on TV. That is famous TV moms. So we are going to make teams here. We won't put you out there all together, Toy. So you can be with your son and daughter-in-law, and then Sherry and Sharonda, you guys can be a team. So your name will be your buzzer. I'm just going to show a photograph of a famous TV mom. You can tell me what TV show that mom was from. That's all you got to do. And the one with the most at the end will win. All right. So competition. We all competitive here, right? So we got to win at this. Goodness. All right. So your name is your buzzer, and here's your first one.
Our name.
Peggy Bundy.
Peggy Bundy. That is yes.
I was gonna say I know the show, but I did not know her name.
Peggy Bundy from Married with Children. All right. So you guys got 1 point. It's that easy. All right. So your name is your buzzer. Say your name first. Here we go.
Oh, you can say your name first.
Nash.
Jared.
Nash.
Nash is
Family
Nash is,
Matters.
go ahead. Where's that?
Family Matters.
That is from Family Matters. Yes.
Miss Winslow.
Yeah. I'm gonna say their last name because mine is a double syllable. It comes out.
Okay. Got it. That is the Winslows, Harriet Winslow from Family Matters. Okay, so we're all tied up. Here's your next one.
Nash.
Adams
Nash.
Family.
Nash, go ahead.
Morticia Adams from the Adams Family.
Yes. That is Morticia Adams from the Adams Family.
I just learned who she was the other day.
All right, here's your next mom. Here we go.
Nash.
Nash
Nash.
again.
Yeah, that's the. From
That's
the
Miss
Munsters.
Frankenstein.
No,
That is not Miss Frankenstein. What TV show? What TV show? What TV show? Go ahead. Porter, Sherry, Sharonda.
You wanna go
Nobody
for
know?
it? Mm-mm. Adams Family? That's not the Adams Family.
That is
It's
not
the
the Adams
Munsters.
Family. Nobody know?
It's the
What
Munsters.
about
The Munsters.
Toy? That is the Munsters toy. Toy got that one right. Yes. That is Lily Munster from the
Lily
Munsters.
Munster. Okay.
Lily Munster. All you got
That's
to do is
cool.
the TV show. You don't need to know her name. Just tell me the TV show. It's the TV show she was from. So here's your next mom.
Sharonda.
Nash.
Sharonda, go ahead.
The Game.
That is from the game. That's Tasha Mack from the game.
Tasha Mack.
Tasha Mack. Yes, indeed. Here goes your next mom.
Oh,
TV
I'm
show.
going to town. I don't know.
I don't know.
Watch TV shows.
Come on.
Yes.
80s TV show.
Yes. It
I'll give you a
was
hint. You already said the first.
Nash.
Go ahead, Nash.
Brady Bunch.
That is not the Brady Bunch.
You know
We
what?
already said.
If I'm gonna pass the question to you, son, I'll say I'm gonna pass it to Jared. I ain't gonna pass it to Jared. I'm gonna pass it to Elena.
You were thinking real hard.
All right, Sherry Sharonda, I'm gonna give you a hint. We said a TV show earlier that was Family Matters. This has the word family in it.
Mm-hmm.
This TV show,
Family with Family Ties?
Family Ties, yes.
There you go.
Elise Keaton from Family Ties.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, only
All right,
guess
here
that
goes
one.
your next mom. What TV show was she from?
Beaver.
Nash.
Porter. Beaver.
Order, yes, she got
Beaver
that
to
right.
Beaver.
That is June Cleaver. Leave it to Beaver. All right, next mom.
Nash.
Grant.
Go ahead,
Nash.
Go ahead, Nash.
It's Monique. Is it?
Parker.
That is Monique,
there
but
we
yes,
go.
it is from the Parkers. Yes, Nikki Parker from the Parkers. All right,
There we go. Good job, Jared.
we're tied up at 4. Tied up at 4. A few more here for you. Next mom.
Oh,
Nash. That's
Nash,
from
go ahead.
Blackish.
That is from Blackish. Rainbow Johnson from Blackish, which is in this last season here. I think it's over already, so check that
Yeah.
out. I love that show. Love that show. Who's that?
Nash.
Nash, go ahead.
Brady.
That is from the Brady Bunch.
Oh,
Gotta be quicker on that. All right, here we go. Next mom.
Nash.
Nash, go ahead.
That's Miss Felicia Rashad. I know it's the Cosby Show, and I know that.
That is the Cosby Show.
That's
Yes.
Mama.
Claire Huxtable.
Yes.
All right, and your last one here, just for giggles, because I think you guys are ahead too much here, but maybe Sherry and Sharonda can get this last one here. Who is that?
Oh,
Nash. Nash.
Grant.
We'll give it to the grand, see if they can get it. Who is it?
Fresh Prince. Fresh
That
Prince.
is from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yay!
That is the original Vivian Banks. You remember they
Yes.
changed her too, right? They changed. Oh, we got one more. How about that? Who's that?
That's
Grant.
Weezy from the Jeffersons.
That was Nash from the. All right, that was the last one there. Look Bomb on TV. We have a winner, and it is the Nashes.
Hey.
We let Toy get on there because she was the one answering most of those questions, though. But Elena and Jared, you did a couple in there.
We did.
Yes, you did a couple there. Yeah.
You
Looks like
picked
somebody
a lot
watches
of
too
those
much
shows from our
TV.
genre.
Somebody watched too much TV.
No, you picked a lot of shows from the 80s. That's during our genre. They were just born.
Oh, okay.
He was busy watching those Ninja Turtles. Now, if
Right.
he had the cartoons, they probably would have
That's
got it.
true.
Yeah, this is true.
That's
This
true.
is true. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys coming on to the show. But before we get you out of here, why don't you tell us, my viewers and my listeners, a little bit, some parting shots. We'll start with you, Toy.
Number one, thank you to you, Dale, for this platform and giving us a chance to actually have these kind of conversations. I think it's important. And for all your viewers out there, I would encourage you to walk in your own excellence. Don't let anybody else dictate what you're supposed to be doing or dictate your story. Walk in your own excellence. We all have our own gifts that God has given us. Make sure you nurture those and use them to the best of your ability. Don't slack off. Don't slack off, not in this profession.
Not in this profession, for sure. Elena and Jared.
I would definitely just say character will take you to a place that talent can't keep you. And with that, exercise good character, exercise good judgment, and you can't go wrong as long as you know that you're doing what's right and you make those decisions and you stick by those decisions.
Yes, and I will co-sign in reference to the walking in your truth. Do not lose sight of that. Find a reason in everything it is that you do, and within reason, you'll establish what your purpose is in life, and once again, be able to walk and fulfill that truth.
Yep. And take it easy on the cheesecake, right?
Take it easy on the cheesecake.
All right, Sherry and Sharonda.
Mine is never forget where you came from. And if you pray to be a police officer and God granted you to be one, then don't forget that. Just feel like you're blessed and go out and serve the citizens with all your heart. Don't neglect them.
And then I would say, so Ada Wright was our first female police officer for the Milwaukee Police Department, and she came on in 1975. And she's also African American, so African American and female to be the first. And she told me, educated women hold the door open for other women to walk through, even if that woman can't open the door or can't walk through that door. So be the person that holds the door open for the next generation, for the next person, even if you can't walk inside of that room. So
Yes. Great words to live by there. And just for everybody that's been watching this whole time, I got the nameplates switched on the Milwaukee pair there. So that's actually Sharonda on the left and Sherry on the right. I'm sure we could have figured that out there because I got retired there. But, hey, you never know. You never know. So thank you, everybody, for coming on to the show. I appreciate everything that you've said today. And everybody appreciate your moms, right? That's what this is about. We don't have to wait till Mother's Day in May. Appreciate your mom every day. I know, Elena, you said you go over and stop by your parents' house when you're working sometimes. So, hey, go do that. Just pick up the phone, or if you don't live nearby, just let them know that you care, because you never know. You never know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yes, sir.
all right. So I appreciate you guys. Hang tight. I'll be right back. Hey guys, what do you guys think about that? That was a good conversation we had about moms out there. These ladies out here are working hard every day and still in retirement. They're still working hard. So, hey, take care of your moms. Talk to your moms. Let her know that you care, right? So that's what we do out here in Black and Blue. Hey, us in law enforcement, we got a lot of wellness things that we need to work out, and you got to keep your mind right. And part of that is having that support system. That support system is your family. That's your immediate family, of course, in your household, but also your family that helped raise you. So take care of moms every day. Don't worry about, don't wait till May to do that. And fathers too. Hey, fathers are important too. I'm a dad, so Jared's a dad too. So everybody, I hope you guys had a blessed conversation here with us. Hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. My name is Dale. This is Black and Blue. Till next time, I'm out. We'll talk to you.
Biggest silhouettes. Is this over?